I was fighting to stay conscious as the paramedics rushed me down the corridor of my office building. In the distance, I could hear gunfires and horns blowing. "You chose one hell of a way to bring in the new year, Mr. Payne," the paramedic said. "Where's my daughter?" I asked while trying to sit up. "And where's Terry?" "Please lie still. You only make the bleeding worse." The radio station was on the 25th floor. I didn't feel strong enough to make it to the ambulance, let alone the hospital. The bullet had penetrated my left side and exited through my back. It burned like hell. "Am I going to die?" They both paused, then looked at one another as if to seek the other's opinion. That terrified me. Once we boarded the elevator, they began broadcasting my vital signs into the radio. I didn't know the significance of the blood pressure and heart rate numbers, but judging by the urgency in their voices, I was in trouble. "Where's my daughter? And where's Terry?" I asked again. "Relax, Mr. Payne. Your daughter is..." He stopped in mid-sentence as the elevator's door opened on the lobby level. Suddenly, a wave of photographers and reporters rushed towards me. I was blinded by a barrage of flashing lights. Although my vision was blurred, I could see the outlines of several husky policemen clearing the path. "Julian, can you tell us what happened?" a reporter yelled out. "Who shot the security guard?" another shouted while shoving a microphone in my face. "Fucking vultures." I tried to lift my hand to shield my bloody face, but my arms were strapped down. The yelling was deafening, like a continuous roar. The paramedics tried to move faster, but it was no use. The lobby was packed with policemen, reporters, and nosy fans who had come to watch. The atmosphere was festive, like a circus. "Get out of my way, please," the paramedic yelled. "This man is in critical condition. Move, move, move." The paramedics fought through the main doors, but once we made it outside, we came to an abrupt stop. The crowd was even larger. People were jumping up on the hoods of their cars trying to get a better look. As the brisk night air blew across my bloody face, their loud voices suddenly faded, replaced by sirens and through the bandages. Replaced by sirens and the humming of the helicopter blades. I could feel the blood soaking through the bandages. It was obvious from the paramedics' expression that we were running out of time. The ambulance was only a few yards away, but the crowd was out of control. When they continued to push, the cops pushed back, violently. People were knocked to the pavement and trampled. "I love you, Julian!" a woman screamed as she struggled to get off the ground. "I'm your #1 fan!" another woman shouted as she lifted her blouse, exposing her breasts. Suddenly, a woman lunged towards me and ripped the sleeve off my blood-soaked shirt. "Ah!" I screamed. "Now I'll always have a piece of you," she said. Her hazel eyes and deranged stare were all too familiar. "Move back," the cops yelled as they pulled her away. "Move back, damn it!" The stretcher seemed to move towards the ambulance in slow motion. I was growing weaker. I fought hard to stay conscious, to stay alive. I gazed up at the flashing light from the squad cars as they danced across the dark sky and against the nearby glass buildings. It reminded me of the 4th of July in Chicago. I wish I had seen the fireworks on Lake Michigan this summer, I thought to myself. And I never did see the view from the top of the Sears Tower. I wish I had gone to Sam's first basketball game when she was 7. I wish I could be with Terry when my baby is born. But most of all, I wish I had never met Olivia Brown. She was the reason I was bleeding to death in Houston, Texas, on New Year's Eve. How could she go this far? I wondered as they lifted me into the ambulance. And why did she choose me? Part 1. Chicago, September 2001. Chapter 1. Jasmine scented candles illuminated the studio, creating a spiritual ambiance. I reclined in my chair as I listened to the song Is It a Crime by Sade. The candles had become a ritual ever since I started at WTLK back in '89. The flickering light and smell of jasmine were relaxing and made me more introspective. Aromatherapy, they called it. The faint candlelight also served as a camouflage for the dilapidated condition of the studio. The carpet was covered with decade-old cigarette burns. The plaster was falling off the ceiling, and the exposed water pipe leaked into the old Folgers coffee can. Sade, your song is right on time, as I said as I glanced around the room. This place is a crime. Just before the song ended, I put on my headphones and adjusted the volume on the mic. The digital clock on the console read 11:55 p.m. 5 more minutes and I'm out of this dump, I said with a contempt. My producer, Mitch, was in the control booth next door setting up the calls. I could see him through the large soundproof window. I switched on the intercom to get his attention. Well, Mitch, in a few minutes it'll all be over, I told him. The final episode of The Green Hornet and Cato. Don't be so dramatic, Julian, he said in the usual smooth tone. It's not the end of the world, just another phase in life. Listen to you, sounding all philosophical. That must be one of the benefits of old age. Who you calling old? Mitch had smooth, dark brown skin and short black hair with gray streaks. He looked very distinguished, but he had recently turned 55 and was getting touchy about his age. Look, we can arm wrestle for your Viagra prescription later, I laughed. Right now, let's get to work and try to wrap up the show on time. There were 5 people on hold. Mitch printed their names in bold letters on a piece of paper and taped it to the window. That was our sophisticated communication system. 5, 4, 3, 2, I heard Mitch count. Then he pointed at me to signal we were on the air. Welcome back to Love, Lust, and Lies on WTLK, I said in my deep radio voice. We only have enough time for 2 calls, so let's go straight to the phones. Adam, you're on. What's your question or issue? Hey, Julian, I just want to congratulate you on the new show, he said. I hope you don't get big-headed and forget where you came from when you blow up. Negro, please. I've been struggling in this business for 15 years. I've never been about money or fame, I told him. I never owned a new car. Don't own a nice watch. I cut my own hair, and every night I go home to a 10-year-old girl who's going through puberty. Now, if that doesn't keep you grounded, nothing will. Thanks for calling. Click. Mitch was laughing his ass off because he knew I was telling the truth. I drove a beat-up 1994 Toyota Camry, which I bought used in 1996. And my scratched-up Gucci was 10 years old. I laughed myself because when I looked down at it, it had stopped working again. Okay, Sharon, you're my last caller, I said as I pushed the button to line 2. What's your question or issue? My question is about love and commitment. She sounded depressed. We don't have much time, sweetheart. What's your point? My point is, when you love someone, you should try to stand by them, no matter what, right? I agree. If you truly love someone, nothing should come between you. Well, I thought my husband loved me until she stopped in mid-sentence. Come on, it can't be that serious, I said jokingly, trying to cheer her up. What happened? Did you gain a little weight? Lose your job? Get a bad hair weave? What? No, Julian. He left me because I was raped. The doctor said the damage was so severe I'll never be able to bear children, she said. That she began to cry. And after going through that hell, can you believe that no good bastard had the nerve to tell me it was my fault that I got raped? How's that for love and commitment? I hit the mute button on my microphone and buried my head into my hands. When I looked up at Mitch, I knew he was thinking exactly what I was thinking. Why tonight? Of all nights. The clock on the console read 11:56. We were almost out of time, but I was determined not to end my last show on a negative note. Are you all right, Sharon? I asked. Do you want me to put you in touch with a therapist? No, Julian, thank you. I'll be fine. It happened a long time ago. She quickly composed herself. I'm just sick and tired of men using the word love at their convenience. The only thing they love is getting pushed. Hold up. I cut her off. I get the point. And you're right. Love is a serious word. Men shouldn't say it if they don't mean it. Have you ever been in love, Julian? Hold on a second. Who's interviewing who? Sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. But I was just wondering if there's ever been a woman worthy of your love. I paused for a second as I reminisced of my wife, Carmen. Her picture was right in front of me, the one we took in Vegas on our honeymoon. I never spoke about her on the air since that day. It was too painful. But I decided to open up. Maybe I was caught up in the moment, or by the vulnerability in Sharon's voice. Yes, I've been in love. Once, I told her. Are you still with her? No, she's gone. Cancer took her. I guess we have something in common, Julian, she said. Then she hesitated. We're both alone. Mitch was nodding in agreement. We both knew why, but I wasn't about to go there on the air. Like you said, it happened a long time ago, I told her. You got to let it go of the pain in order to move on. And speaking of moving on, it's time for me to get out of here. The phone lines were ringing off the hook, but there was no time left for calls. The management at WTLK was strict about ending segments on time, especially since the station was programmed to go off air at midnight. The clock on the panel read 11:58. Before I go, I want to end the show with an inspirational poem, the way I always do on Hot Buttered Soul Friday. I call this piece, Moving On. I reached for my notebook. This one's for you, Sharon, and all the ladies out there who are trying to move on. I cleared my throat and began to recite. Every experience, be it bad or good, teaches us a lesson, or at least it should. Mr. Right turned out to be Mr. Wrong. Learn from your mistakes. Keep the faith. Press forward, sister. Move on. Dry your tears. Wipe your eyes. Find the strength. Look inside. Don't call them. Don't see them. Don't play one sad song. Block his cell. Delete his email. Look ahead, my sister. Just move on. Love yourself. Take care of yourself. And if the need arises, sister, please yourself. Do a checkup from the neck up. Say a prayer. Sister, hold your head up. Because one day you'll have all the joy your heart can hold. And then you'll be glad you pressed forward. And so thankful you moved on. After I finished reading, I felt choked up. I was closing the show for the last time. I hesitated for a second. Then I let it go. Good night, Chicago, I said emotionally. Thanks for allowing me into your homes, your hearts, and your minds. Peace. Mitch quickly turned on the studio lights and came running over. He was holding a bottle of Dom Perignon in 2 glasses. He shook it up and then popped the cork. Champagne sprayed everywhere. Congratulations, Julian, he said as he poured it over my head. You're finally escaping this concentration camp. Yeah, it took me over 10 years, like Shawshank Redemption, but I finally made it. As I laughed, as I wiped the champagne from my eyes. He poured 2 glasses and handed me one. I'd like to propose a toast, he said, to the most outspoken, talented, and arrogant son of a bitch in the talk radio. Hear, hear, I said as we tapped glasses. Now I want to propose a toast to the man who has given me inspiration, motivation, and dire reaction. Here's to you, Mitch. We toasted again. Then there was an uncomfortable silence. I had dreaded this moment all week. You know, Mitch, I'm sorry I couldn't work out a deal to take you with me. You know how much you... Look, Julian, he interrupted. This is your time, your season. You were born for this. Besides, I've got a big deal I've been working on. I only wish Carmen could have been here to share this moment with you. Yeah, me too. I stared at her picture on the console. She's the reason why I stuck with this raggedy ass station for as long as I did. Mitch walked over and put his hand on my shoulder. He was a short man standing about 5'6". I towered over him at 6'3", but he had a charismatic way of speaking that demanded attention. It's been 2 years, Julian. When are you going to let it go? He said in that fatherly tone. You said it in your poem. Life goes on. Why don't you stop feeling sorry for yourself and start taking some of your own advice? Look, Mitch, dating is not high on my list of priorities, I said as I pulled away. Then I started packing up my equipment. I'm moving to Houston in 2 days. I just want to finish packing, have a farewell drink with Eddie at the club, at Club Nimbus, then get the hell out of here. Sounds like a plan, Julian. He poured himself another drink. But you know as well as I do, Shan was right. You are alone. You should have asked her out. She's obviously single, he added sarcastically. Tell you what, why don't we see if she's still on the line? Mitch reached for the button on the console. All five phone lines were lit and my microphone was still on. Cool out, Mitch. I grabbed at his hand, but he managed to press the speakerphone button for line 2. There was a sudden click, then a dial tone. It's best that she's gone anyway, he said as he backed away from the console. And why is that? Not that I care. Because Samantha would never allow another woman into her life, or yours, not until she learns to accept that you are a man with needs. He set down his champagne glass on the console and headed for the door. Where are you going? I walked towards him, holding my glass. I thought we were celebrating tonight. I'm going home to my woman. What about you? He said as he opened the door. I really hope you find what you're looking for in Houston, Julian. Then he turned off the lights and walked out. As I watched the candle wax slowly melting away, I thought about what my father told me before he died. Son, money can buy you a lot of things in this world, but it can't buy back time. As I stood there in the dim silence of my spiritual ambiance, I had to face up reality of what Mitch said. He's right, I thought to myself. Samantha was too possessive, and I was only making matters worse by not having a life of my own. I gathered up the rest of my things and placed them inside of my gym bag. Before I put away the picture of Carmen, I looked at it. Then I spoke to it. You know I always love you, Carmen, but it's time for me to move on with my life, I said as tears rolled down my face. My mind needs it. Heart needs it. My soul needs it. And I ain't gonna lie, baby, my body needs it too, I laughed. I kissed her picture, then placed it into my bag. You'll always be my queen. On the way out the door, I blew out my jasmine-scented candles and put them inside of my bag. At that moment, I decided it was the only baggage I was carrying with me to Houston. That's the end of chapter 1.